My name is Keith Beckley, and I've had an experience that has changed my life beyond any hope of repair. Her name was Naomi, and she instantly became the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Walking away from the Hastings and Crawford law firm in Santa Cruz, my partner Jerry and I were still moving our accounting business into the small stone building next door, and I didn't yet know anybody in the neighborhood. To call it love at first sight would be a grotesque understatement, as she was instantly the sun and my soul, her immediate flower. I don't recall how I approached her, but my hopes were swiftly dashed when she informed me that she was the happily wedded wife of the law firm's senior partner, Ted Hastings, Esquire, who was a well-established ambulance chaser. He was visible enough in those damned commercials.
Have you or any member of your family been the victim of an accident, hit and run, workplace injury, or other debilitating condition? If so, call the law offices of Hastings and Crawford. When we do the work, you collect the money.
The pear-shaped lawyer was also rumored to have a habit of smoking good cigars and wearing that terrible toupee. Damn near anyone who ever encountered the man in public said he was chomping on a stogie, and many a local had seen the right beachfront breeze force a realignment of his low-end hairpiece. Getting settled into the new office took only a couple months, and we were off the ground and running strong when Ted phoned to inquire about my services. It turns out that his accountant had retired and, well, left the country on short notice, and they needed somebody who could take on the firm. This, of course, would put me around their office and, hell, their parties, which would all put me near Naomi, and how could I say no? The work part was easy, as Ted and his partner both kept immaculate books for men of such questionable ethics. Being around Naomi was the real challenge. She was a razor, sharper than a surgeon's scalpel, and carried an allure that made her the kind of woman that, well, men would kill for. At times, it was almost more than I could bear, but then Ted had to leave town for a week to attend a convention, and the little potato actually asked me to check in on Naomi for him while he was gone. My first inquiry to her was a short phone call. As promised, I'm touching base. You okay over there? I'm good, Keith. Thanks. I decided to up the ante and drove over there the following day. She opened the door of their lavish home in faded black shorts, which barely covered her buttocks, and a thin fall sweater. Are you going to the beach? She smiled widely. I am now, if you're driving. We drove down to the water and made small talk while we strolled. Can I ask you a personal question? You and Ted, No, she interrupted. I didn't marry him for his money, and no, I'm not happy either. I'm basically an ornament to him. I was rattled. Who on earth could treat such a smart, sexy woman like a trophy? I stopped walking, taking her by the arms and forcing her to face me. You want to know what it feels like to be more than an ornament? Depends on what more entails, Mr. Beckley. Before I could speak, she was kissing me with a desire that had been caged for far too long. My dream was coming true. The woman of my dreams wanted me. and there was no going back. We spent the rest of Ted's absence mostly in bed, getting up occasionally to eat or use the restroom. Around the time Ted returned, Naomi quickly informed him that she had signed up for, of all things, physical training 3 nights a week. When she conveyed this to me, I erupted into a sea of hysterical laughter. And with Ted not suspecting so much as her looking at another man, we were able to sneak around with ease. We'd sometimes meet by day on the boardwalk, keeping our hands off each other in case of prying eyes, but we'd also rendezvous at the old motor lodge by night, wrapping ourselves up in one another like we had tentacles. I was always right on time, and she was almost always early, give or take 15 minutes, eagerly awaiting me when I would arrive. The lodge wasn't in the nicest of neighborhoods, but aside from some shouting and, the occasional gunshot being heard in the distance, it was our little sliver of paradise. Our meetings went on for months, the conversations deepening, and the lovemaking growing more and more intense. Oh, if those beds could talk. It had been almost a year when we sat down to discuss our future. Our love had grown so exponentially that she decided to leave Ted. We immediately began the process of selling my firm and found a lovely beachfront house in Florida that I could have paid off in record time. She didn't care about Ted's money any more than she cared for his cigar smoke. She wanted freedom. The freedom to be loved, to be desired. The freedom to stand with me as her partner rather than merely adorning Ted's arm. We had a plan, and we even had a date picked out. The day before Halloween. Our dreams were about to come true. I sold my half of the business to my partner Jerry, and had the movers getting everything I owned on a truck bound for Florida by the 20th of the month, putting me at the motor lodge full time until the 30th. It was on the 29th that Naomi came by, just long enough to give me a long, loving kiss and hand me a card. "See you tomorrow night," she said with an angelic smile, as she left to head towards Ted's for her final night as the practicing Mrs. Hastings. I watched her until she drove off, and then I opened the card. "Tomorrow is everything. You are my everything. I am forever yours." The next day went by without incident. We traded text messages in anticipation, and boy was she fired up and ready to go midday. She wasn't leaving with much beyond some choice pieces of her wardrobe and some small family heirlooms. Little to tote meant little to pack, and she was ready to slip out early. But I reminded her that the plan was to meet at dusk, right at 7, and hit the road, driving until we were far away from California. I walked the shoreline one last time that evening, watching the orange sun melt into the cool horizon. Headed back to the lodge, I realized I'd have about 20 minutes to spare when I got in, and I decided to shower before Naomi arrived. My underwear had just hit the floor when I heard a gunshot out in the parking lot. I raced to the window but saw nothing. My car was there, and despite her normal pattern of being 15 minutes early, Naomi's car hadn't yet arrived. Well, I told her to be punctual. My worry about the gunshot was for naught, especially since she and I had heard all kinds of gunshots in our months at the lodge. so long as she wasn't out there running the risk of being hit by a stray bullet, and my car remained in one piece, we were as good as gone already. Stop overthinking and get to washing your balls, I said aloud, climbing into the shower and beginning to bathe. Moments later, while rinsing shampoo from my hair, I could hear police sirens. When I finished, I walked back over to the window and saw the red and blue flicker of squad car lights at the end of the parking lot, but still no sign of Naomi. I'm so grateful to be done with this damn town, I muttered while walking over to the bedstand and putting my clothes on. No sooner did I have my trousers fastened than there was a tap at the door. Glancing at my watch, it was 7 on the nose. She was right on time. I opened the door to Naomi. Only her excitement was nowhere to be found. Her eyes were a fortress of heartache. "Baby, what is it? Are you okay?" I asked, gesturing her into the room. Only she didn't move. "Keith, I can't go with you." "What? Why not? What's going on?" I demanded, trying my best not to yell. "I just want to thank you for loving me, and I wanted to say goodbye. It's over." Confused and feeling jolted, I turned around to get my shirt on so I could step outside and speak with her if she wasn't going to be coming in. From behind me, her words filled the air like I had never heard before. "I love you." I might have had my back turned for all of 3 seconds, but when I spun back around, she had disappeared into the autumn twilight. "Naomi! Naomi! Naomi!" Nothing. "Naomi!" "Do you know Mrs. Hastings?" came a voice from around the corner. A thin man in a fedora stepped around the side of the building towards my door. "Huh?" I asked, still unsure of where Naomi had gone. The man stepped closer and shot me a suspicious glare. "Did you know the victim, sir? Naomi Hastings." "Victim?" I gasped, feeling my stomach turn and my guts weaken. "Sadly, she's been the victim of a homicide, and we're here to investigate. Did you know her?" I couldn't move. Staring back at the detective, the rage within me was a wildfire. "What do you mean, a victim? She was just here right before you came around the corner." "Sir, I'm sorry, but she was DOA when we got here. Are you acquainted with her? Perhaps her husband, Theodore, goes by Ted?" Surely the detective was wrong. I buttoned my shirt and grabbed the room key. "I'll tell you everything I know, but I have to see her." "I'm afraid that's not possible, sir." It didn't matter. There was just one of him. I darted past the detective and towards the now visible police tape. "Hey! Hey! Hey!" he shouted, giving chase. When I got to the side of the lot, I could see both cops and EMS personnel standing over her. She had parked on the side of the lodge in an attempt to be discreet, and that is where she met her end. The cops soon found out about me having worked for Ted, about the affair, and they confirmed that Ted had grown suspicious as we neared our departure date, following her to the motel and deciding that if he couldn't have her, no one else could either. They also later confirmed the gunshot I heard at 6:45 had indeed been the one that took my Naomi's life. I hadn't heard the second shot, the one Ted used on himself after driving up the road a few blocks. I guess he realized that his life was over too, one way or the other. I know in my heart she came to say goodbye. It was not a dream, and it was no hallucination. I just wish she'd come back, even for a night, even in a dream, as I miss her more than words could ever convey. But alas, I haven't seen her except in my memories since that fateful evening. As I write this, I'm headed out past the boardwalk to the same stretch of beach that she and I used to walk together, where I'm going to go for one more swim. On the shoreline, I'll leave my shoes, my ID, and a note in the sand. One that reads, "Tomorrow is everything. You are my everything. I am forever yours."